Minecraft is a game with many mysteries right from the very beginning. The player is dropped into a vast world with little guidance and forced to discover things on their own. Although mostly empty, there are some intelligent creatures around. However, not every place is a simple village. Scattered throughout the world is evidence of an ancient past in the form of large structures with richness deep inside. Who built these? What was their purpose? Why are they here? To find the answer, we must examine the clues, both subtle and hidden in plain sight. Perhaps we can discover the meaning behind these mysterious places, and in doing so, gain a greater understanding of the lore of Minecraft. Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive, where we examine the most obscure and interesting parts of games. There's a lot of stuff for us to find. Join me for a dive into the waves. But first, we have a sponsor, and it's BenQ with their space-saving screen bar. I guess I'm a real YouTuber now. How about that? Anyways, the screen bar is a new type of lamp that's designed to reduce screen glare and save space. It pops right onto the monitor and connects to the computer using a USB port. I've been using the screen bar for several weeks, and I have to say I'm impressed. It really does a great job of lighting up the area with minimal interference. As a content creator, I spend a lot of time on the computer, so any product that reduces glare is a benefit to me. Same for me as a student. Working on homework is much easier without a desk lamp taking up space. Check out the link in the description to learn more. Almost every person that has played Minecraft has stumbled upon some of the ancient structures found throughout the world. Perhaps they hacked through a jungle to find a pyramid there, solving a puzzle before getting startled by a booby trap. Or maybe they found a large pyramid in the desert, falling down to find several chests of loot before suddenly being blown up by a TNT trap. Or the more adventurous explorer may have discovered a deep-water ocean monument defended by terrifying ocean guardians.
No, don't go that way!
Whichever category you fit into, there's something intriguing about these strange buildings. Where did they come from? Initially, we may think of villagers, as they seem to be the most advanced species in the overworld, but that doesn't quite make sense. First of all, villages don't spawn in jungle biomes, making it less likely that they built the jungle pyramids. Also, villagers exhibit no knowledge of redstone. How could they have constructed the complex booby traps in the desert and jungle temples? Furthermore, ocean monuments spawn deep in oceans, far away from the mainland. Villagers can swim, but just barely. Are we really supposed to believe that this bumbling society was able to construct massive underwater pyramids? I just don't buy it. So what about the next option, the Endermen? In my previous video, I outlined evidence for the Endermen being the most powerful mob, as they are capable of creating and destroying the world. And from a basic level, the Endermen make sense. They're known to build in cities, and they spawn throughout the overworld. However, there are a few critical pieces of evidence that preclude them as candidates. Although they can pick up TNT, we have no evidence of them understanding how to build redstone, as found in jungle temples and desert pyramids. Furthermore, Endermen are notoriously allergic to water. Is it really conceivable that they would have chosen to build a massive structure in the ocean? And even if they could, why? It seems as though they were far more interested in resources from the nether, such as blaze rods. These questions are pretty hard to answer on their own. Evidence within the structures themselves is limited. We need to look elsewhere to find the clues that will lead us to the answer. Thankfully, there is something decomposing deep underwater. Let's literally take a deep dive, for once, to a structure added in the aquatic update, shipwrecks. Within the ocean biomes of Minecraft, we can occasionally find sunken ships. These aren't some little boats made with 5 wood on a crafting table. No, these were majestic vessels. Take a look at this excavated specimen. Notice its large length. It also has an internal room, presumably for the captain, as well as space beneath the deck. It even has places for cannons, and the chests contain equipment for battle, including gunpowder, TNT, and armor. The ships clearly were designed to use sails, given the huge masts. They look very similar to an 18th century ship, although I don't have the nautical or historical background to give you an exact guess on the time frame. It appears as though these ships were designed for long voyages, as evidenced by the now moldy food stored within. There's a treasure chest that contains diamonds, bottles of enchanting, and other riches, as well as a chest with tactical equipment, such as books, compasses, maps, feathers, and clocks. Another thing worth pointing out is that shipwrecks can be made of almost every type of wood, from the more common oak and birch to rarer types, including jungle and dark oak. Each ship also uses multiple types of wood at once. This seems to imply that the ships required some sort of transportation infrastructure just to be built. They most likely couldn't have been constructed by a single city in one place, due to the necessary resources. All of this evidence points to seafarers that were well-traveled and used to sailing long distances. They had explored enough of the world to build their ships out of a variety of materials, and they'd mastered the art of preparation. They also had fairly advanced technology, with knowledge of navigation, writing, and enchanting. So the question remains, who were these sailors? Once again, I really don't think it was the villagers. The timeline is a major reason. Since villagers exist in the world today, wouldn't they still be sailing and exploring? Villages also lack the infrastructure required for such large ships, and they don't spawn in jungle or dark forest biomes, both of which are potential ship materials. We should consider the Endermen for an important reason: in-ships. In a previous video, I proposed a theory where Endermen began in the End and discovered a way to get to the overworld. Check that out using the card above. In this theory, the Endermen eventually colonized the overworld and the Nether before being trapped in the End after accidentally summoning the dragon. Endermen weren't able to build in-ships before they went to the overworld, as evidenced by the type of loot found within. And since Endermen are notoriously allergic to water, perhaps they were the ones who built these overworld ships. Although this kind of makes sense, it still doesn't explain our fundamental question: who built the ancient monuments? I want to propose something that at first may seem a bit strange, but if you'll stick with me, hopefully I'll be able to explain it. I think that there was another species of builders in the overworld before the Endermen traveled there. I should mention that MatPat says something similar, although he believes that his species eventually became the Endermen. I disagree with that as explained in the Enderman video. I'm going to suggest that these builders were the ones who built the ships we find in the overworld. All equipment implies that they were humanoid: armor, food, and the like. Even the height of the internal room is too short for the Endermen, but perfect for a 2-block tall person. I think the Endermen who came to the